Hi, Beulah. Can you hear me? Nice, Ashwin, Beulah, Sachin, Sai, Swarup. We are missing Pranay. Okay. These guys I already know, sir.
Okay.
So that's the reason I don't ask their introduction. Yeah, I know all these guys. Okay. Yeah. Generally, I start with the same question whenever I start sequels. Okay. So I was telling that, right? So I made a career switch to reporting and analytics.
Okay.
So when I made a career switch, initially I was into banking. Then I made a career switch to operations. Then I made a switch to reporting and analytics.
Okay.
I think in 2014, I made a career switch. Then almost like I worked with Excel for 3 years. Then when I wanted to make a career progression, SQL has become like a problem for me. Yeah. Then I decided to learn the SQL. I went to one of the institutes in Amirpet. Yeah. So first thing I told them that because I don't know anything, I come from non-technical background. I told them that I want to learn SQL. The first question they asked me in return, are you planning to learn SQL or are you planning to learn SQL Server? Okay. So this was the first question they asked. And even they said, we will teach you PLSQL. Yeah. We will teach you MySQL. Exactly, I don't know what is the difference between PL/SQL or MySQL or whatever T-SQL. I'm no clue. I have no clue here. So I was very confused. Then they told me that so there will be a role called DBA. If you want to become a DBA, then you need to learn SQL Server. Yeah. To work with say, SQL Server, I asked them like, do we need any specific softwares to learn this? They said you need to have SQL Server and you need to have SSMS. So to be honest, all these words were bouncers to me. I couldn't understand or I couldn't figure out anything even because no idea what exactly we meant by SQL. Yeah, whenever I ask the same question, people say that SQL stands for structured query language. Even I was in a confusion. Should I call this as SQL or should I call this as SQL? Which one is right? I don't know that. All these were questions. I had all these questions. I went to that institute with all these questions. Instead of clearing those things, they made me confused. I was more confused after joining the session. So I discontinued. So because of that one stupid reason, I wasted 2 years. Somehow I had a fear like I'm coming from non-technical background. I can't learn the coding. It's very difficult. And SQL is something like they talk about data types, they talk about primary key, they talk about foreign key, they say joins, and they say triggers, and they say stored procedures. All these were like bouncers to me. I couldn't understand anything. So these were my confusing points. Now let me start from here. What's your perspective on SQL? Should I call this a SQL or should I call this as SQL? SQL, sir. Okay. Yeah. So both are correct. You may call this as SQL or you may call this as SQL. We have colloquial language, right? Which we use in daily language. Correct. Sorry, daily life. So generally people call this as SQL. Both are same. You may call it as SQL. You may call it as SQL. You can go with anything. Yeah. Then why? Why and what is the purpose of it?
It helps us to large data sets.
Large data sets.
Yeah, it helps towards that, bringing in exact data or extracting exact data from a large data set by using the queries that we have.
Using the queries we have. Okay. I have my first question. Okay. For example, let's say I have a small restaurant. Yeah. If I have a small restaurant, see, it's very small and I want to store my data. The first preference always goes to Excel.
Correct.
Yeah.
100.
Because which is very user friendly. And it is something like I create a table and I store my data there. Yeah. Why table again? Because table is like a organized format of data storage. So I create a table. For example, let's say I want to store my orders data because these days everything is online order. So now I'm trying to find out when I received the order and which platform. Is it through Swiggy or is it through Zomato? What is the item they ordered and what is the cost? Something like this. I'm trying to store the data. Now my question is very simple. When I can store the data in Excel itself, why are we using something else? Am I clear?
Yeah, question is clear. I would say Excel, we will have to input data one by one in Excel.
Mm-hmm.
We will have to feed data to give us output
Mm-hmm.
in terms of all the data that we want to see.
Mm.
We have to prepare it. But what SQL, maybe it will help us bring the data very quicker.
Okay. Any ideas, sir? No. Do you have any experience with the data? No. May I know your background?
I've done the
Okay. So then how come you are here for SQL?
just want to learn things
Okay.
because I don't have any kind of base in arts.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Then let's come here, guys. Yeah. Let me start from here. This is my first question. Yeah, the primary purpose of Excel, I don't know whether you guys have Excel background or not. So generally, people use Excel for few reasons. The first reason is when we want to store data. Yeah. And if you want to perform any calculations, and if you want to analyze it, we use Excel. You are able to do everything here. Now, my question is quite simple. When you are able to do everything here, why are we moving out of Excel? And why are we trying to use SQL? That's what my question. Is my question valid?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask another stupid question.
Because we can't code in Excel.
Sure.
You can.
Yeah. Let me come here. If I go to one specific screen, so let's come here. I go to module. This is where we will write a code in Excel itself. Even in Excel, you can do automations. We can do that. That's pretty much possible. So this what we call as VBA or people call as macros. So using this, you can do coding in Excel also. Yeah, if somebody says that you get a job without coding in Excel, that's not correct. Yeah, even in Excel, we have coding.
I do.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, sir?
Okay, tricky question. So Excel, yeah, tape I say I would, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we are using SQL because Excel is not able to handle large data sets,
Mhm.
whereas SQL will help us mine the large data set versus Excel is not able to do that.
Excel is not able to do that. So what is the maximum data we can store in Excel? Any idea?
30,000 lines.
13,000?
That's
Okay.
what it is. I don't recall.
So let's come here. Now, currently I'm in 11th row. Can you see this? We call them as rows and these are columns.
So yeah, we have a lot of.
Yeah. Now, if I go to the last row here, let me say control down arrow. Yeah. Here we have 10,48,576. So this is the last row what we have in Excel, which means use data. Yeah. We can store almost like 10,48,576 rows of data. This is not simple one. Though people consider as simple application. Excel, everybody says that Excel is quite simple.
Based on rows and columns.
Okay.
We are using SQL.
Yeah, even in table also, if you come to table, generally table contains rows and columns. Yeah, for example, you might have you want to check your results. If you want to check your college results, they arrange the data row wise and column wise. Or you take your bank statement. Again, it is rows and columns only. Yeah. Yes. Let me answer this question. You can store data in Excel. Absolutely. I'm not denying that. But the biggest concern these days is security. Yeah. For example, let's say I got access to your computer and there is some Excel file which contains some sensitive information. Can I open the file and can I see the data? Absolutely right. Where is the security? Yeah. Let me convey this in other stupid way. Have you ever received your bank statement in Excel format?
Never.
Never, right? The reason why it has least security. You can still store the data, but so if you want to give, if you want to consider the security aspect, Excel is not the good application. And also, I want to see like, I want to have some controls on it. When I say control, who logged into that particular file or who used that file and how much time they spent, what kind of activities they performed. I want to track all these things. If you want to do that, Excel doesn't have that capability.
It only hide files.
Yeah. So you can store some data. That's what you can do. But when it comes to security and controls, we are not able to perform anything here. Yeah. Also, I want to interact or I want to integrate this with web pages. The reason why, for example, let's say you want to book a ticket. Let's say you want to book a movie ticket. So generally these days, people stopped going to theater and nobody is taking tickets from theater. Either we use Book My Show or any other platform to book the ticket. Am I correct?
Sure.
So basically, we are interacting with web pages. Now, if you want to interact with web page, then the integration can be done very easily with SQL. But if you want to do the same thing with Excel, you can't say that I keep the entire data in Excel. That sounds foolish. Yeah.
Okay.
So my point is quite simple. Yes, I'll agree with your point. That is, when you want to handle large data, Excel is not the best application. Though we have the capacity to store the 10,48,576 rows of data, but the moment you store 1 lakh rows of data, Excel performance will be reduced. Yeah. So it creates performance issue. So that's the reason when you want to deal with large data sets, we go with the application where it can support large data sets. That's where we are moving out of Excel and we are coming to SQL. Am I clear with this? And even the security purpose also.
When you say security and control, because it is using a server, that is the reason.
Absolutely, sir. See, I got your bank statement. Everybody is curious about others. Will I keep quiet? No, right? So if there is a mechanism where it controls the access, then the data is secure. So we can't keep those security controls in Excel. So that's the reason we are moving out of Excel.
Okay.
Yeah. Am I clear with this?
Yes.
Okay. Am I clear, sir? Can I move on? Okay. So let's come here.
That is different kind of application.
Yeah, I'll show you that. Thank you for asking that. Absolutely. Whatever the questions you have, you guys are free to ask. There is nothing like should I ask or shouldn't I? No. Please clear all the questions, whatever you have. Now, at the same time, I'll be asking a lot of questions. If you guys know the answer, let's go for it. Else, let's go for a guess. Nothing wrong. So when it comes to SQL, people use these two words a lot. Can somebody help me to understand the difference? Yeah. First set of words. Then whenever it comes to data, people use these words a lot. Table, database, and server. Can you help me to understand the meaning of all these words?
SQL is structured query language, basically.
It's a query language, sir. That's true.
That's all it is.
Mhm.
I mean, when we say SQL, that's all we are meaning by that. Server is the server there, all the data is stored for SQL. That's what I guess.
Okay, then what do we do with the table? What do we do with the database?
Creating security patterns
Okay, where do we create those security controls?
in the server,
In the server. Then what do we do with the database?
like you creating some table form that do
Mhm. Am I clear?
Yeah, the question is clear.
Yeah, I mean, generally people talk about all these words. I'm just trying to understand what do we mean by table? What do we mean by database? And what do we mean by server?
Server is where the data is stored.
Mhm.
Database
Then what do we do with table, sir?
you store that server data in table form.
table is where you organize the data.
Absolutely. So whenever we talk about data, yeah, we want to store the data in a structured format. So let me put it like this. When I say table, it's a structured format of storage, right? Now, see, if I want to store the data in a structured format, that's where we are using table. Now we need a specific place to store these tables. So basically, database is collection of tables. And server is collection of databases. But unfortunately, nobody talks about this and people straight away get into the topic.
Yes. I-
Am I clear now?
Yes.
Yeah. Whenever we want to store the data, we want a structured format to store. That's where we use table. And all these tables, generally, if you talk about data, guys, for example, let's say I have a restaurant. I never work with only single table. I want to manage my inventory. So I'll maintain one inventory table and I receive orders. For that, I maintain another table. And I want to maintain my employee details. I need another table. So if I talk about simple restaurant, I have three tables here. Now I need a place to store all these tables. That's nothing but database. So basically in database, we store all these tables. So let me put it in simple way. Database is nothing but collection of tables. Then when it comes to server, we need a, like our friend mentioned, absolutely, we need a place where we can keep the security controls and we can work. So that's where we are using the server here. Basically, server is collection of the databases. Yeah. Are we good? Can I move on? Online participants, any questions?
No, sir.
No? Yeah. Thank you. Then let's come here. What is the difference between SQL and what is the difference between server? Difference between SQL and SQL Server. Any idea, sir? Absolutely. Thank you so much. We have SQL and we have SQL Server. Let me put it here. SQL is a language which is used for communication purpose. But with whom you are communicating, now you are trying to communicate with server. To communicate with server, we need to know a specific language. That language is nothing but SQL. Am I clear? Yeah. So here, what we are doing. So for example, let's say you go to Tamil Nadu. Yeah. If you go to Tamil Nadu, so you need to speak in that language. If you are in Rome, you should be like a Roman. The same thing here. If you want to work with server, you should communicate in the language where the server understands. So now I'm going with the same language here. So we use SQL, structured query language, to communicate with the server. Then let's come here. What is the server and SQL Server? Are they same or are they different?
I think
It's the same. Then simply we can say server, right, sir, where we specifically saying SQL Server.
Server is all about the security.
Yeah, that's true. Then what is a SQL Server?
The database is stored.
Database stored. So
In
that's
the
what already we
language-
discussed.
In the language it understands.
In the language it understands. Okay. Let's come here. So we have server. Basically, it's an application where you can store all these databases. This application is provided by different companies. So now SQL Server is the application which is provided by Microsoft. Yeah. So if it is provided by Oracle, we say Oracle Server. Yeah. The same way we have MySQL Server. Yeah. Now server and SQL Server are not same.
Okay.
So server is like a generic word. That could be Oracle Server, that could be Microsoft SQL Server or MySQL Server. Generally, we refer them, all of them as servers. But now, if a particular company provides that application, we go with a specific name. So now, whenever we refer the word SQL Server, we are referring to Microsoft Server.
Got it.
This is the application which is provided by Microsoft. Am I clear with this? Yeah. Now, so based on the company, now I quoted 3 companies here. Yeah. Now, based on the company, we use a specific kind of language. For example, if I go with the very generic example, though Telugu is common in Andhra and Telangana, but language is totally different. Am I correct? I don't know whether you know Telugu or not. Okay. So language is same, but the kind of words what we use is a bit different. Same thing here. So now based on the application, we use specific kind of language, SQL language. So in SQL language, we have different versions, guys. One is called TSQL, which is Transact SQL, which is used in SQL Server. Okay. The same way we have MySQL, which is used for MySQL Server. Yeah. Then we have Oracle. Yeah. To work with Oracle Server, generally people use PLSK. Yeah. Now, whenever I talk about this, people will immediately come and say, which SQL language I should learn. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So because it is like confusing. So we talked about 3 types of languages here. Now, which language I should learn? So basically, we have SQL, guys. If you learn any of the languages, any one, it is enough. Almost like 70% of the commands are same in all the languages. Yeah, it is like different versions of the SQL. So 70% is same, but we have a difference like 25 to 30% difference we have. Some keyword differences. So my point is quite simple. Learn any one SQL language, you can work with other SQL languages. That's quite simple. And thanks to LLMs, if you learn one language, even you can ask the LLMs to generate the code, right? Using ChatGPT, ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot. You can use any AI-based assistant and you can generate the code. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So, but even if you generate a code with that, you must know how to read it, how to understand, and how to customize. If you don't know that, even you generate the code with AI application, what can you do with that? So that's it. Am I clear so far? Yeah. Then I have 2 more confusing words. Let me discuss them. Yeah, I think already I mentioned this. Yes. SQL Server and SSMS. Can somebody tell me, are they same or are they different? Different, sir. Okay. Then which one we will use? Sorry? SSMS. Thank you so much. That's correct, sir. But why do you use SSMS?
So that's the work going to be.
Why do I need that? See, we discussed that.
So it is connected to the SQL server.
It is connected to SQL Server.
And that's what I think. When
Okay.
you're giving out that where you provide commands there, that's where it performs or fetches the data from the SQL server.
Okay. Thank you so much. Absolutely. So now let me answer this question, guys. SQL Server, SSMS, both are not same. We have a specific purpose here. So let's come here. So we discussed that SQL Server is used to store databases. Basically, databases contains tables. So tables contain data. So if you want to store data in a server, yeah, you need to know specific language. That's where we are dealing with SQL. But now here, using SQL, so this is how we write the query. For example, let's say I'm just showing one sample query. Select all from customers. So if you see this is one query which generally we use. Now, can you please see this query? Does it look like English or any other language?
Maybe.
It's like English only. So can you understand? We know the meaning of select. We may not know what is the meaning of this star, but we will learn that. Then we have from customers. So we are able to understand this. Now my question is quite simple. You have given your query in English. How your machine is able to understand the English?
By the binary numbers of code.
Thank you so much, sir. By the binary language. Now I have another question. Who is converting that English language query to binary language? That's it. Am I making sense? Sir? So SQL Server, yes, it's an application. So we are storing data here. But now to interact with this, we need one mediator or a translator. SSMS is like a translator. So we are going to write all our queries in SSMS. Now, whatever the queries you write in SSMS, that will be translated and that will be passed to the respective person. Then that person will respond. Now, again, this translator will receive it and he will translate it into other language and we will see the results. So that's the reason whenever you talk about any programming language, you use specific studio. So we call that as IDE. Anyone knows what is IDE? No? Yeah. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So basically what do? Using this IDE, we pass all our commands. Those commands will be translated to machine language. Then machine will respond. Again, those responses will be translated to English and they'll be presented to us. That whole activity will be taken care by this IDE. Now, to work with, see, Microsoft has its own IDE. So we call that as SSMS. Yeah. Now, even MySQL has specific IDE. We call that as MySQL Workbench. So that's where you're familiar with MySQL Workbench. Yeah. So based on the server, what we are using, we use the respective IDE. Now, to learn SQL, what you guys have to do is, first you need to have one server. Why are we taking a server here? Because it's very important. Nobody gives you the server. Yeah, because they use a server to store the sensitive information. Why do they give access to practice for their server? They will not give the access, right? So now that's the reason what we are going to do is in our machine, we are going to install SQL Server and also we are going to install SSMS. Now using these two, we are going to continue our next sessions. Am I clear with the basics, sir? Yeah. Somehow, when I first learned SQL, I was missing these topics. People used to say, open SSMS and write the code. But my question was like, why should I open SSMS? First of all, what is this SSMS and why do I need to use it? And what exactly I'm doing with SQL Server? I have no clue about all these things. Yeah, are we good now? Yeah, I'll share the instructions files with you guys. Yeah, using those instructions files, what you have to do is You need to install SQL Server on your machine, in your laptop. Yeah. And you need to install SSMS also. So let me talk about very important thing here. That is your system configuration. So minimum, you should have 4 GB RAM. But if you have 8 GB RAM, that's really good. Yeah. Don't use HDD. If you use HDD laptop, the performance will be very slow. Hard disk drive. So it's better to have SSD. All the latest laptops are SSDs only. But if anybody is using old laptop, then you may have HDD. Okay. I'm not saying that you cannot use HDD. You can, but it responds very slow. And now these days, we don't have patience. So we want everything very quick. So that's the reason minimum 8 GB RAM and SSD is enough. Yeah. And don't use older laptops. If you are using the older laptops, some of the applications may not support, especially Power BI. It doesn't support, guys. So I would suggest have the latest i3, latest one, maybe i3, 10th generation, 11th generation, or i5 or i7. Or you can use Ryzen also. Those things are fine. So system-wise, these are the requirements. Yeah. Once, please check. Yeah. Again, people will ask me, how do I check it? Yeah. If you are using Windows laptop, let's come here. By the way, what do we call this icon? My file, sir? Yeah, sorry, I'll be asking these stupid basic questions. File Explorer. Thank you so much. We call this icon as File Explorer. So let's come here. I go to File Explorer. Then can you see this PC? Yeah, let's come here. Now what I'm doing, I come to this blank space. Let's make a right click here and let me get into properties. If I go to properties, you'll be able to see your system configuration here. So what is the processor you are using? And what is the RAM you have? Is it a 64-bit or 32-bit? So you see the information here. This is very important. Please check it, guys. Yeah. SSD is absolutely fine if you pay 2,000 rupees. Even if you have HDD, you can change it. Yeah. I'm not asking anyone to change. I'm just saying that. Okay. So these are the system-wise requirements wherein we need to have this configuration. Then you guys need to install SQL Server and you guys need to install SSMS. Yeah. So we'll share the links also from where you can download. Can I move on?
Yep.
Okay. So then let's come here. So we are going to use one specific sample database that is called AdventureWorks. Okay. Now you might be thinking, what is this AdventureWorks? This is a sample database which is already created by Microsoft. Yeah. Now, if you want to work, you must have the sample database. If you don't have the sample database, how do you work? Yeah. For example, if in your scenarios, see, you don't get access to your server. That's the reason we are installing the server in the machine. Then we are trying to place these sample databases into your server. We call that as database restore. We will discuss what is that database restore process. Maybe tomorrow we'll do that. Yeah. Then let's come here. Can you see this word?
Yeah.
OLTP. And we have one more word here. What is this? Data warehouse. So if you come here, we have OLTP. Yeah. OLTP data is for most typical online transaction processing workloads. Then data warehouse, data is for data warehousing workloads. Looks very technical. Am I correct? Yeah. Now let's come here. I come back to Excel again. Yeah. The same example I gave to every batch. How many of you been to HDFC ATM? Almost like everyone. Yeah. And let's compare with nationalized bank. Which experience will you love? You have HDFC ATM and SBI ATM. Which one you will love? HDFC? Why?
Fast.
Thank you so much. That's a perfect answer I'm looking. You go to HDFC ATM if you want to complete the transaction. It will not take more than a minute. Am I correct? Or maybe 1.5 minutes. But you go to SBI, even the buttons doesn't work first. Buttons, they don't work. Even if it is working, it takes a lot of time to work. So now here, basically, you're spoiling the customer experience. For any customer, sorry, for any business, customer experience is very important. Without proper good, I mean, if you don't have good customer experience, will you stay with that organization? No. If not this organization, I mean, if not this bank, we go to another bank. Yeah, this is one thing. And next, let's come here. You go to supermarkets. Yeah. And for example, let's say you fill your basket with a lot of items. Now you are waiting for billing. If it is taking long time, will you love it? Absolutely no. I mean, you can clearly compare Canada experience with Indian supermarkets. You have to wait in long queues, especially you go to DMart. Yeah. Now, this transaction should be done real quick. So that is the reason what happened. We have the systems, but we divided the systems into two parts. One is called OLTP and another one is called OLAP. Basically, we use OLTP for transaction purpose. Yeah, and we have OLAP for analytical purpose. We use OLAP. If I come here, OLTP stands for online transaction processing. This is the full form of OLTP. And if I come to OLAP, online analytical processing. This is the full form of OLAP. Yeah. Now, why do we need two systems? How many of you have experience with IRCTC? You book train tickets, sir? Everyone? Yeah. Especially morning 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Tatkal time? Yeah. You submit your query, but it will be keep on processing, but it will take 5 to 10 minutes to open, especially in Tatkal window. Am I correct? The reason why too many transactions are happening at the time. Now, when too many transactions are happening at a time, it should be done really quick because a queue will be formed there. So all the requests will be served based on the queue. For example, let's say in this room, we have like 5 people. Now, we all are trying to book tickets. For example, let's say our friend submitted the query first. Then he'll be in the first person in the queue. Then let's say second person, third person, fourth person, fifth person. So that's how I get the waiting list. Yeah. Now, so you might be thinking, what is the connection between IRCTC and OLTP and OLAP? Yeah. Let me ask another stupid question. Anybody checked train current status? Running status. Yeah. If you want to check running status, they will ask you to enter the train number. Yeah. Any idea why?
Fetch the route.
To?
Fetch the route it is.
I can do that with the train name also, right, sir? Response is very quick. What is the difference between text and number, sir? Am I clear?
Text and number.
Yeah. For example, let's say I go to a supermarket. I want to buy thumbs up. Yeah. I go to billing counter and let me search for thumbs up. If you take thumbs up, we have different packagings in thumbs up, like 250 ml, 500 ml, 1 liter, 2.25 liter, something like that. We have so many. Now, instead of that, what supermarkets do, they go with barcode. You just go to the counter and if you place or if you scan the barcode, then immediately you see the results. what they are doing, instead of using the description, they are using specific code, right? So whenever we use specific code like that, we call that as normalized data. This is not the technical definition. I'm just speaking in very layman language. But instead, if you use the text, we call that as denormalized data. So we have normalized data, denormalized data. Basically, normalized data is like a number or a code. Yeah. But if you say denormalized, it's text. So now, if I want to go with transactions, should I use normalized data or denormalized data? Which one I should use, guys? Normalized data. So now OLTP contains normalized data. But I asked you to prepare a report. You prepared a report with all the barcodes. Will I be able to understand anything? No, right? There should be proper description. So when it comes to OLAP, we need the text, which means we use denormalized data. Now, if I speak in simple language, you go to ATM and you insert your card. The moment you insert your card is connected with your customer ID. Your customer ID is connected with your bank account. Now, whatever the balance you have in your bank account, that will be communicated based on your customer ID to the card. Using that, you are using the machine interface and you are doing the transaction. Am I correct? This is what exactly happening. So now here, for transaction purpose, we use normalized data. But you want to have your statement. You cannot prepare your statement with the all IDs. We need the description. So for example, let's say I used 5 ATMs. I give the ATM IDs. I will not give the location. Will I be able to figure out which ATM it is? Instead of that, I say Himayat Nagar 1 ATM, Chikatpalli another ATM, Ameerpet another ATM. Then I can find out, okay, I went to Ameerpet, I did this transaction, I can recollect it. But if I give the same information with number, we can't do anything. So for reporting purpose, we use OLAP, guys. For transaction purpose, we use OLAP. Am I clear with this? Now, what financial analysts or reporting analysts or data analysts, what they do, they will have the transactional data. Yeah. Using this transactional data, they convert this into reporting data. Basically, normalized data will be converted to denormalized data. Anybody booked IRCTC ticket in between 11:15 to 11:45 midnight? Have you ever tried? Go and try today. You cannot. The reason why, through IRCTC website, lakhs of transactions happen in a day. Yeah. Now what they do is, all the transactions are happening in OLTP database. From this, they move the entire data to OLAP for the next day, so that the reports can be published. So they can find out from which railway, how many tickets are booked, from which station, how many tickets are booked, how many cancelled. They can find out all these statistics using OLAP. So that is the reason what IRCTC does every day. They move the entire OLTP data from 11:15 to 11:45 to OLAP. So in that time, if any transaction happen, it will disturb the transaction process. That's the reason they keep the systems on the pass and they move the entire data. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Think of your day-to-day life, guys. Without touching database, we are not spending even a single day. Let's talk about mobile. You call somebody and your call records are saved somewhere. Yeah, you go to Google, you search for something, you are interacting with database, and you go to supermarket, billing, again, that's another database. So it's not possible to spend without data. Whenever you talk about data, database comes into picture. So that's the reason SQL has become an important skill these days, guys. Are we good? Am I making sense? Yeah. Now, I request everyone to install SQL Server and SSMS and keep it ready. Yeah, I'll share the links in the group. Please pick it up from there. Use those documents. You have some instructions also in that. Using that, if you complete the installation, we will continue the rest of the session too. Am I making sense of it? Sir, any questions?
No. I already downloaded the SMS file with the same thing. I'll check with it.
Sure. Yeah, anybody is using old laptop? That's fine. Yeah, my laptop was HDD. Then I had to change to SSD. So then I see literally difference in the performance. Yeah, especially if you want to use Power BI, minimum RAM should be 8 GB. And i3 latest or i5 is mandate. If you have i7, that's too good.
So this is enough 8 GB DDR4 particular SSD.
Yeah, that's enough, sir. Guys, any questions? Online participants?
No, sir.
No?
No.
Yeah, only Swarup is talking. How about others? No, are we good?
No, sir.
No. Thank you. Then we have the WhatsApp group, right? I'll share the documents in the WhatsApp
Yeah,
group.
I'm not in the group yet.
And we'll have a recording of this class, right?
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
So today we did not discuss anything technical. I mean, it's just very generic session.
Okay.
Yeah, but tomorrow onwards, we'll get into the all technical stuff. Okay. That's it, guys. I'll stop it here for today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Bye.